For the schools, you mentioned on the last show that because of COVID, that the schools are going to be understaffed to help special needs kids. Could you touch on that? And I will really hang up and listen for my answer. Thank you.
Well, there are going to be more kids with special needs. And the special needs kids are often emotionally disturbed kids. That's really what special needs is. In most cases, there are other kids, obviously, with disabilities, but it typically it's a brain problem. And so the schools are already understaffed to take care of this. And my goal in this is a very lofty goal for a very short period of time, but my goal is to see that what I would do if I could magically do something would have trained neurofeedback people in every school, right? And I would have a brain curriculum, and I would have a self-regulation curriculum. Well, within the self-regulation curriculum, I'd have a brain, so kids really understood their brains. By third grade, they were beginning to get the reality of their brains, and that they knew that there was a peak performance tool that was there in the school. So they wanted to get better at basketball or get out of special ed, they could do that right there in the school. So, it's a lofty goal, but it's interesting because, I work closely with Bessel van der Kolk, and this is what he wants is to pilot a self-regulation curriculum in the school of the county that we share, Berkshire County in Massachusetts. And it's beginning with neurofeedback being introduced into the wellness center of Berkshire Medical Center. And that's begun. And so there is movement. And when you get somebody with a voice like Bessel's into the field of neurofeedback, something moves. And that's what's happening.
Got it. Now, Jay and Sebern, you guys had questions going back and forth. You want to take a couple of swings at the plate there, and then Skip,
before that, I'd like to toss in one thing about the mental health month or week or day or whatever they're giving us. Parents who have kids that are in sports, I think that's the one group that does have a baseline EEG recording as something that would come in very handy to identify changes in brain function due to any significant head injury. And head injuries are going to happen. And there's no way around it. They happen to people that aren't even in sports. But if your kid's enrolled in football or basketball or soccer or hockey, whatever the sport is, if you don't have a baseline EEG recording, you really can't document the subtle changes that happen with head injuries. And a simple concussion on top of a simple concussion is not a simple concussion. They go up exponentially in how severe the brain injury is. And unless you end up having some baseline, it's hard to end up showing people, that there's actually a change that needs to have therapy. And schools need to end up pushing that as well, because how do they know when an athlete's ready to go back on the field unless they actually can see that somebody's returned to their baseline function at least?